Hello, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John, and I'm coming to you today with a few things that we need to talk about and try to understand with all the nonsense that's going on in the nation today and around the schools with regard to these encampments at universities, preventing people that have earned a graduation degree from getting to walk across the stage in front of their friends and family and receive the accolades that they so well deserve, because we have a bunch of ill-educated morons that have decided to do sit-ins and have their graduation ceremonies canceled. And these are uneducated people that do not understand. They're out there with genocide signs, and they have no idea of what they're talking about, because if you want to talk about genocide, where are the concerns for people in, especially the Muslims, in Myanmar and places of that nature where they have been tried to be eradicated? How about the Jewish state that was formed after the potential of a eradication of the Jewish population of Europe?
You hearing this?
We forget these things because they're not taught in the primary education side of things, and they get away with graduating with liberal arts degrees and then go out in the street and talk about genocide and wars that they do not understand, because not only have they never been in one, but they do not understand the history of these things. And historically, Myanmar is a classic example, and that brings us to the Ukraine, with all the nonsense that happened there through World War II and the German occupation, and the still Nazification of most of the Ukraine in certain sections, and the fact that there is biologic and chemical warfare laboratories peppered through the Ukraine. With one errant missile hitting one of those, we're all in trouble. Oh, and it's not going to be good. Why is Putin upset about having nuclear warheads and our missiles in a stone's throw to Moscow in Poland? The same reason they don't want NATO going into the Ukraine. They don't want these type of weapons within a stone's throw of their country. And if you were educated enough, you would know to look back until where John Fitzgerald Kennedy was president in the United States, and we had the Cuban Missile Crisis. Do we forget that, or we just forgot to have our professors and our teachers in primary education teach that? When we had nuclear warhead threats to be in Cuba, a stone's throw from our country, we fought against it and almost went to war over this. And now Putin is experiencing the same things after we've made the promises on many, many occasions from World War II on to Russia. Whatever the regime was in Russia, we promised time and time again that we would not be encroaching any further to the east with weaponry or letting NATO that close. But yet we go back on our word time and time again. And we're upset with a journalist that went over and talked directly to Putin and heard the other side. And we have mainstream media in this country that rails against what Putin had to say. Oh, he made that up. Oh, no, this, oh, that. No, he gave us a history lesson that we, in our infinite wisdom, failed to teach our generations that are coming up through the educational system. It is not being fair to Putin for us to be, or Joe Biden talking about putting nuclear warheads in Poland. How's that for a further east incursion? And the whole Ukraine thing could have been stopped long ago. And then when we had a peace agreement on the table, our president told Boris Johnson to go in and rip it up, further escalating problems between Russia and the Ukraine. We're not going to get into much more of the Ukraine politics, but we need to have a Congress, our spendthrift Congress that throws money around like drunken sailors, needs to stop supporting this nonsense. We have a Secretary of State that doesn't understand what his job really is. He goes around and tries to talk about peace here and there, which fails. And then 2 minutes after he leaves, in China, Beijing welcomes a contingent from Hamas. Who do you think they're going to back? Who do you think they want to get their oil from? Because we're not producing oil in this country anymore, and Joe Biden has seen to that. Do you think China is going to go with where they can get cheaper oil? And guess who's backing Hamas? That's Iran, who is making millions by the day with their oil production. Because we dropped all the sanctions. We sent them a plane load of cash twice. Are we buying oil from Iran while we shut down our own oil fields and leases? Are we buying minerals back from China or other countries while we cut out our mineral mining here in the United States? What is this government up to? I spoke to my sister yesterday who told me that arriving in the mail yesterday was a mail-in ballot that she did not request. How many of those have gone out at the price of stamps today? What do you think that cost the taxpayer to send out these things so they can cheat in the next election? And the only reason for a mail-in ballot to be sent to anyone is for manipulation purposes. When I was young, on a voting day, the bars were closed, the schools were closed, and most people took the day off. It was a holiday, and you went out and you voted. And by midnight that night, you knew who the elected officials were. Why can't we go back to that method of doing things? Oh, well, our population is growing exponentially, and it'd be hard to do that today. It's not like it was in the 1950s and 60s. Yes, it is. You blew the population out of proportion, and if you listen to J.J. Carroll, who is a 24-year veteran of the southern border, he'll tell you that the 9, 10, 11 million number that keeps getting thrown around is nothing, because he said there's probably up to 20 million people have been led into this country through the southern border from various nations around the world. Some of them nations that hate America. And no one gets a handle on this. No one got a handle on the fact of what is going on with these Central American and South American countries that emptied out their jails, their mental institutions, and people that didn't fit what they want their nation to look like. They sent them through our southern border. Why? So a certain political faction can assure more votes. Why do they need more votes? Well, they say now that the African American population has woken up and realized that they have been used, and they have been used mainly by the Democratic Party for votes, and given nothing back to this ethnic or population that they deemed they needed for votes. So they're replacing those people that have woken up and realized that they have been used and abused by a political party for too many years. You have Joe Biden is probably the guiltiest in that because he was a racist and probably still is. Just look historically at his speeches. They're readily available if you take the time to research it, where he said he wouldn't want his kids going to school in an integrated jungle. Can you get more racist than that? That and the fact that he was hand-holding with half of the Ku Klux Klan in his early years in the Senate. These are documented evidential things that you can find. Now he's running around with Clinton and Obama. Clinton, they were experts at getting rid of any opponent that actually came up against them to run for office or got in the way. If you remember back to the person who ran against him hard in Florida in the monkey business, it took them less than 3 to 5 days to completely get him off the ballots. Look what they're doing to Donald Trump today. Clintons started this, and they perfected it. And if you get in the Clintons' way, things happen that are highly questionable. Like you could commit suicide or be found in a compromising position or worse. They perfected this. It's ongoing today. These paper ballot nonsense that they're sending out is nothing more than a way to manipulate and cheat what they feel they need to stay in power. Because the Democratic Party today are the new elite party. They are not the party of the working person or the average man, which they proclaimed for years to be. And I come from a family that probably was a very Democratic voting family, which most working people were, because they stood behind you. Now they're bringing in illegals, and they're making deals with large corporations, and don't think for a minute that this isn't happening. Tyson Food is a classic example. You let these people in, and you tell these corporations, we'll get rid of your unions, we'll get rid of your high-paid employees, and we can replace them with these immigrants that'll work for cheaper, and we can produce more. And by the way, I need you to fund my campaign, and this is what I need. It's a sad state of affairs because our Constitution and our founding fathers would turn in their graves if they knew that this was the new way for the elected parties to act. Why do the workaday people or the owners of corporations that had to sign paychecks for these people not run for office anymore? Because we have a corrupt media, legacy media, that will destroy a person for a mistake they may have made when they were 16 years old or ongoing in life. We all make mistakes. We all have things that we probably wouldn't want put out there to embarrass our family or ourselves now. But these media jackals will get a hold of something, whether it's true or not, and they will destroy an individual if he's running against the party that controls the media. What do you think is happening with Donald Trump right now? Look, Here's a successful businessman who was president of these United States and did a good job and kept his campaign promises, and he did it all while being impeached twice, or tried to be impeached twice, and through a daily barrage by the media to destroy him. What person do you know that may be running a business? It was designed for someone that was successful in their own business or in their own manner of thinking to come in, take an office, spend a term, 2 terms, 3 terms, and then go back to their successful walk of life, and then let the next person have a chance to come in with the better idea. But they all were successful people in other areas other than politics. Now we have created the career politician, and this is where our problems lie. A career politician, look at Bernie Sanders, look at Joe Biden, 20, 30, 40, in some cases 50-some years, sitting in a seat in Congress or the Senate or President of the United States as a result of their time in the club. It's not conducive for a normal person to put themselves on the line and go out there and run for an office when you have a jackal bunch in the media waiting to destroy you because they're being told by the career politicians that do not want to give up their seat on the gravy train that you shouldn't belong in that club. If we brought people in that were successful in business and knew how to balance a budget and knew how to pay people and had to be responsible for paying people and the payroll taxes, we would have a better government today. It's pure and simple. But no, we have to create career politicians that have one thing and one thing only in mind. Look at AOC. Comes into office, couldn't afford an apartment in Washington, D.C. because she didn't make enough money, didn't have any money, and now she's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. How'd that happen? On $100 and some odd $1,000 a year. I mean, they're millionaires inside of 2 years of sitting in Congress. And look at the squad. It's the same thing there. Special interest groups have more lobbyists in Washington, D.C. than we have people. So, yes, they're corrupted. Yes, they get on the gravy train and don't want to leave. But a real business person with the acumen to take care of the job that they're put in, whether it's an economic advisor to the president, which we have a dope in there now that just made a total fool of himself because he couldn't answer simple questions like, how do you generate capital? So if we have somebody that comes in that's trained and has worked in that position and knows how to do it, that's one thing. But if we have a career politician that knows nothing about economics getting put into that position, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have runaway spending that's happening right now in your Congress and in your Senate with nobody answering for the mistakes. This country is in a recession right now, whether the White House wants to tell you differently or not. We are in a recession and an economic slowdown with layoffs happening every day in large corporations that should not be laying people off. And then for Tyson Food to turn around and lay off 1,300 people and replace them with illegal aliens is a travesty that no one should have allowed to happen. We have a Homeland Security head, the Secretary of Homeland Security, has let millions and millions of people illegally cross this border. How is that securing your homeland? We care more about securing the Ukraine homeland than we do about securing our own. It's time that we make the changes that are necessary, and if you are thinking of voting for another career politician, you need to rethink that. But then again, we don't have real people from real walks of life that have been trained and work in these areas of expertise that will take the risk of having the media jackals tear their lives apart. How is this a fair republic or democracy that we have in this country with that going on? You have a state-run media outlet with very few that can think on their own. And they are jackals when it comes to destroying people. And then we have a weaponized justice system right now. And a classic example of this is look at what's going on in Georgia with this, Fannie Willis, and look at Letitia James. Look at this Alvin Bragg, and look at what they're doing to Donald Trump in New York in this phony kangaroo trial that is keeping him off the campaign trail because they're scared of him. And it's being driven directly from the White House. And if you don't believe that, then I have a bridge in Brooklyn and I want to sell it to you. Because it is being driven politically. And if you don't see that, then you must be deaf, to quote Yogi Berra. There's very little amusement in any of this that we're talking about here today. It's a very serious, very, very serious thing that we need to start to take a look at. And we better start to realize that we, the people, need to voice our opinions and voice them loudly and get past the media circus and get past the circus, what is the White House today, and understand that you're being lied to on a daily basis, and understand that the only hope we have in this country right now is through prayer, diligence, and understanding of the candidates that are running for offices, whether it is a Congress seat, a Senate seat, or the presidency or vice presidency. We need to vote in the correct people with the acumen to do the job and get us out of the slide of problems that we have fallen into over the last few administrations. And I include the Trump administration in that because I think, unbeknownst to him, he didn't realize the level of snakes that were really in the swamp that he tried to take on. And they came back and tried to bite him. They're still trying to bite him. And they may succeed at it because we don't know what's up the sleeve of the snakes on the other side that are trying to push this thing through. And the biggest head that never got over losing to him is Hillary Clinton and the Clintons. And if you look historically at what's going on there, it started with them in getting rid of any opponent that they disagreed with or got in their way. He is the thorn in Hillary Clinton's side that she cannot have surgically removed. So she wants to remove him at any expense, at any cost. Why do you think Bill Clinton and Barack Obama are out on the campaign trail for Joe Biden right now? She created Barack Obama. If you remember, He had a very short term as a state senator, very short term as a U.S. senator, and was promoted into the presidency, or running for presidency, after Clinton's second term. And promises were probably made there that he turned his back on. When it was all said and done, Hillary got to run for president, and what happened? She lost to Donald J. Trump. She never, ever got over it, nor will she ever get over it. And today, they are pushing to destroy him. They are now pushing to destroy, using the media, RFK Jr. I mean, somebody told me that they came out now and say that there's a dead worm in his brain and he's had problems and this, that, and the other thing. The media will destroy an individual as they're instructed to do by whoever is in the club behind the curtain running things. It's more and more evident to you every day you turn on the TV. Every day you pick up a newspaper and read it. And then you have idiots taking over campuses, yelling about genocide, which they know nothing about. If you look at, like I said, Myanmar, they have tried to eradicate every Muslim in Myanmar. But that doesn't make the news. You don't hear about that. Well, I guess that the New York Times ran something on it. I think it was yesterday, maybe today. So if you take the time, look that up and read about it. But genocide has been happening for a long, long period of time. And most of it you don't know about because the media in this country is very, very guarded at what they tell you. And if it doesn't fit a narrative that their upper echelons has been told what narrative to push, you don't hear about it. Or you'll hear a twisted version of it. But it's embarrassing what's happening to Trump, especially yesterday they put this Stormy Daniels up there, who is a dyed-in-the-wool and admitted liar. And it was all done for not a reason to uncover anything, because there's nothing to uncover. It was to embarrass him in front of his family and the nation. Plain and simple. I think Sean Hannity ran a thing about her and some of her past transgressions the other night, but I didn't see it. So the U.S. has decided now through the Biden administration to pause some weapons that were going to be promised to be sent to Israel. So they're going to backpedal on that. Because there's a battle raging in Rafah right now between Hamas and Israel. So we're going to slow down the aid to Israel. And that's Joe's decision. So he wants to run the rail in the middle and say, see, I'm pro-Hamas, but I'm also pro-Israel. You can't have it both ways. You have an ally that you need to stand with, and you have on the other side a known, verified terrorist group. Where's the decision there? He does not want to lose one vote from a dummy in the streets at a university with a sign that's anti-Israel. He's afraid of losing that vote. Boy, when you have to be afraid of losing college student votes, then you must be really, really down in the polls. But then again, look at him. He's the walking dead when he goes across the lawn, and his hands out. It's just mind-boggling how anybody can think and actually come out and say, on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, and Facebook, and say that they can't wait to vote for him again. What does that say about our population? Well, anyway, there's not... Well, the Taliban came out yesterday and said that stoning will be the method for any adulteress caught. Let's just take this world back to maybe the 2nd century and start over, huh? Anyway, there's no great news to bring to you today, other than the fact that we have a rainy, stormy day here today, so there won't be... Kaiser and I will not be out filming anything, that's for sure today. But this weekend is coming. I'm looking forward to getting somewhere this weekend and getting you some good, fun things. And I just want to take a second here to mention a sponsor that we have here on the channel, and that is Lazy J Farms and Butcher Shop, located in Kingsport, Tennessee, and you can reach them we'll run a commercial at the end of this video, and they have some great chicken products, pork products, and the best beef you've ever put in your mouth, and it's called Blonde d'Aquitaine beef that is a wonderful, wonderful, tasteful steak with none of the additives and none of the fooling around with growth hormones or antibiotics and things of that nature. So if you get a chance to call an order into them, they'll ship anywhere in the United States, and you'll get it in 1 to 2 days. And they're wonderful people, wonderful farm, and you'll see the commercial at the end of this broadcast. And as always, we wish them the best, and we wish you the best here at the Kaiser Report from Kaiser and I, and hope that you have a wonderful rest of this hump day, Wednesday. We're halfway through a week again, and can't wait for the weekend so we can get out and see some things and do some things. And we love you here at the Kaiser Report, and please don't forget, if you can, like this video, and also subscribe to our channel, and always leave comments of what you're thinking about anything we talk about here. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on what's going on in the country today and around the world. So God bless you all, and we'll see you here tomorrow on the Kaiser Report. Have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday evening. Bye-bye now.
Lazy J Farms has been raising the finest cattle and all-natural pork for 3 generations on the family farm in Fall Branch. Their Blonde d'Aquitaine herd offers a leaner, healthier, and more tasteful beef. And the butcher shop is local, farm to table, and 100% authentic. This is the way your grandfather shopped for me, with steaks cut to order, quality assured, and ready to ship to your door. Open Thursday through Saturday on Bloomingdale Road in Kingsport. Come see us.
Just tell them Kaiser sent me. They'll appreciate it. Bye.